Hey guys, how's it going? And thanks for coming. I'm Nick, and this is Real Life Money, where we talk about topics that schools do not. So let's get started. In this video, we're going over if you should use cash or credit, as in paper money versus a credit card or / debit card. I'm going to put those together. So, is carrying paper or plastic better? Should you use Benjamins instead of cards? We're going into that. We'll be looking at pros and cons of both. We'll be going into what I personally use and my opinion at the end, if that matters at all. So if you guys have any comments or ideas, you can leave them below. I'd like to hear what you think. So let's start out with pros for cash, money, moolah, dough, Benjamins, Jeffersons, the other guys. So the first pro is that you can't spend more than what you have. Easy concept, third grade math. If you have $100, you can't be spending $120. Now, I personally think this is a great thing because a lot of people actually spend more than what they have. So if you have a set limit of that $100, you can only spend up to that amount without using what you don't have, going in debt, bad things. If those shoes cost $125, you gotta walk away. Another pro for moolah is that everyone takes it. If you give someone a 20, there's no problems. They're going to take it very easily. You might be carrying change afterwards, which is kind of sucky, but at the same time, in certain occasions, you could actually get things cheaper. For example, if someone's doing a job for you, or maybe you're buying a car. Let's say there's a $9,000 car. You could be like $8,500 in cash right now. The thing is, this is only certain occasions. You can't go to the supermarket and bargain with them. I mean, you can try. It's not illegal, but the cashier's just going to give you a look like... So maybe you can't go to the supermarket and be like, hey, I see your bananas are 50 cents a pound. What if I give you 40 in cash? So moving on to another pro that I feel like is good is that you actually feel the pain when you spend money. If you're going to buy something for $100 and you have a Benjamin, you're kind of psychologically attached to it. You don't want to spend that whole amount. You don't want to give it up. You kind of want to have something left over. So you could kind of use this as a psychological tool to help you spend less. So now there are probably a bunch more pros, but let's move on to the cons of paper money. The first con that I believe is kind of a huge thing is that if you, let's say, cash your check and it's $500 or whatever, if you have $500 in your pocket, you're tempted to spend all of it. You know, if you see the $500, you're kind of like, I could spend $500, but if there's somewhere else, like in a bank account, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Another bad thing for carrying $500 is that you're carrying $500. That's kind of a lot of money. Someone could slap you up and rob you. I mean, unfortunately, that's a thing these days, unless you do something about it. Now, the last con I'll be going over for cash is that there's really no benefits to it, I guess you could say. There's no, like, cash back or whatever. Now, that's not a bad thing. It makes it easier. So, talking about cash back, let's move on to pros with credit cards. You do get cash back. If you spend whatever, a lot of cards have like 1% cash back on a bunch of things. Some cards might have like 2 or 3% cash back on certain areas, maybe gas or restaurants. So I think that's kind of cool. I think that does stand out to a lot of people. Sometimes if you sign up for a card, they might have like a promotion. You'll get some money back when you spend a certain amount. Another cool pro for credit cards is that you technically don't pay now if you buy something right now. You wait until the statement at the end of the month. In theory, you could save up that money so you could pay it off. And at the same time, it is safer. You're not carrying a bunch of cash or wad of whatever is in your wallet. You have just the card. And at the end of the month, you could see your purchases, see what you actually spent. And the last main thing that I'll be going over is kind of what a credit card is meant for, is that you could build up your credit. So when you pay money back of whatever you're purchasing, your credit score builds. So when this happens, you're more trustworthy, so you'll get better interest rates when you're borrowing loans for cars, houses, what have you. Now finally moving into the cons, like super duper big problems of credit cards. People tend to spend more than what they have. So they don't really pay attention to the money that they have. And it's really easy to swipe a card, whether something's $10, $100, or $1,000. You swipe your card, no matter what the amount is, and you could spend more than you realize. Same thing with the cash back. Because people like cash back, or the 1% back, people tend to actually spend more because they're getting something back, which actually doesn't make sense. If you're going to spend an extra $100 that you normally wouldn't do to get $1 back, at the end you're spending 99 extra bucks. And I think the main, most horrible thing of these credit cards that are detrimental, that's a big word that I used, is the interest. You are getting screwed if you're paying interest. These interest rates are like double digits. They could be 13, 15, 17%. So if you owe money for a credit card and just making the minimum payments, those minimum payments are just going toward the interest mostly. You're not even paying down what you owe. That's why people could be in credit card debt for like ever, because the interest is so much, you're only tackling the interest and not the actual debt that you owe. And a similar idea, whether it's credit cards or if you're looking at debit cards, you could spend more than you have, you'll go negative, and now you're paying overdraft charges. Fees that aren't wanted. And the last quick con that I'll be going over for using plastic cards is that you could forget. Sometimes you forget to make a payment, you could get hit with a late charge, interest could add up, and it could be confusing. You might have a bunch of cards and you don't know which ones to pay, and then just fees, interest gets added up, and you'll get screwed. So again, if you're thinking of any other pros and cons of either, leave a comment. And if you're interested of learning more about credit cards, I do have other videos. I'll leave a link in the description for you guys. So what do I personally do, real life money guy? What I personally do is that I actually use credit cards, mostly because I am disciplined and only have like a couple cards, like as in 2. I don't have any credit card debt. When I get the statement, I pay it off, so I don't pay interest, and I get the cash back. I mean, it's nothing crazy. I use it for things I would normally buy, like gas, and then I pay it off. Now, I'm not saying my way is best. I'm not saying my way is right. Each person is different. If you're more disciplined and you track your expenses like a crazy person like I do, you could get away with credit cards by not being in debt and using them to your benefit. And I don't carry cash. I carry maybe like 20 bucks with me just in case. But depends what you want. So my personal opinion of if you should go either cash or credit, looking at the average American of having like $16,000 in credit card debt, paying like a ridiculous amount of interest, I would suggest cash. You can't go in debt with cash. You need to look at what you're doing. You need to feel the pain of money leaving your hand each time you make a purchase. So that's the main reason why I would suggest cash over credit cards, because people aren't really disciplined enough. Like, like deep down that like you overspend on your credit card or something like that. You see, credit cards aren't the problem. Credit cards aren't bad. Just our habits, our lifestyle, how we use them is bad. So, that's kind of it, guys. Hopefully I opened your mind a bit whether to use cash or credit or slash debit, whatever you want. So if this helped you or you learned something, you could share it to someone if you want. Maybe they could learn something. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Real Life Money. We go over real life and money because schools aren't doing that. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.